3 of the Iron Gauntlet at Lock and Load Game Fest 2017. I am Lyle Lowry. I'm the editor-in-chief of No Quarter Prime, and with me is Will Schick, executive director of business. How you doing, Will?
I'm doing great, Lyle. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Awesome.
We've got an excellent round 3 matchup. We got
do.
Major Victoria Haley and Signar on one side.
Yep.
And Absolonia 2 on the other side with Legion of Everblight.
That's right. We got Oracles versus Heavy Metal. This is going to be a classic, just scrum. And it's even made better by the scenario for this round, which is the pit.
The pit.
Yeah. So the pit, you've got that big circular center zone where all the action's going to happen. You can control that, or you can dominate it. Control's worth 1, dominate's worth 2. There are 2 flags. There's a friendly and an enemy flag. You can see them on the map there. You can dominate your flag for 1. You can control the enemy flag for 1, or you can dominate the enemy flag for 2 if you're feeling really spicy.
And this one's got kill box on.
Correct. So yeah. So if you're not if you're not completely, you're completely within 14 inches of your table edge at the start of the turn, you're gonna give your opponent 2 CPs. So you got to get up there and you got to get into the center.
All right, so now we're seeing the Signar deployment, and we have Patrick Dunford playing the Signar side today.
Yeah, and Patrick is bringing a Major Victoria Haley, so Haley 2 list. She's got, again, it is the heavy metal theme force. She's got a Squire, she's got a Hurricane, she's got Thorn, she's got a Firefly. Then a Storm Strider, Lieutenant Allison Jakes with a Reliant, Captain Arlen Strangeways, and then a Journeyman Warcaster with another Firefly. So maximizing those free points out of that because of the Squire, Jakes, the Strangeways, and the Journeyman are all free from the theme benefits, and also all of his solos are going to get Repo 3. Which can be pretty critical depending on their setup. It gives them a little bit of extra mobility depending on how the turn goes out.
Yeah, and we're looking at a really jack-heavy list here with 2 different Journeyman Warcasters, essentially.
Yeah, I really like the setup. I've definitely we've been doing something similar on the Penny Arcade Plays for Jamie's list. She's going to be playing on Sunday. Her list is very similar as well, except instead of a Hurricane, she usually plays a Stormwall. Hurricane's going to be really interesting in this matchup because of the way it affects flight, and there's a lot of flight in that Oracle's list on the other side.
Yes, there is, and Corey Burns is deploying his Legion Force right now. He's using Absolonia 2 again, and Absolonia 2 has 2 Blight Wasps, Proteus, Carnivian, Naga Night Lurker, 2 Neraphs, and a Seraph.
Yeah.
And he's also got a Spell Martyr, 2 Forsaken, 2 Hellions with their Nist Sorceresses, and 2 Blighted Nist Shepherds.
Yeah, and both Forsakens and the Hellions are free from the Oracle's benefit due to that really heavy battle group. So yeah, again, just a really interesting matchup. It's just going to be a lot of fun, I think, to watch and to see these guys go at it in the center of the table here.
And what I like seeing is both these guys' armies are really beautifully painted too.
Yeah, they look gorgeous. Again, the thing I was talking about with Hurricane is turbulence, so models activating within 12 inches of this model, the Hurricane itself, lose flight for 1 round. And that can really be a huge swing when you're talking about the Legion War Beasts, which rely on their flight and their mobility to get to places they need to be, and they're sacrificing a lot of durability for that. So having that Hurricane that can just strip it away from them could be pretty clutch, especially on a table that's got a lot of different rough terrain features like we're going to see on this table. You got shallow water, you've got the forest on the table, you got some rough terrain, and a couple of obstacles. So definitely a big deal here, and could be a difference maker when we're looking at this matchup.
Now Patrick has already begun his turn, and he's pushing right into the zone right away.
This is definitely a matchup where you want to be aggressive up front. You want to put a lot of your big stuff in that zone. And also, looking at the Hurricane with Arcane Shield on it, it has the potential to outlast a lot of the lighter Legion stuff that they can bring at it. There's no Angeliuses for Thrust, which is the Armor Pen attack that they have. The Neraphs can do okay. It's all about Absolonia's feet turn, honestly, when you're looking at this list here.
You're looking at a Firefly close up to your screen right now on the flag, and he's pushed up Thorn into the zone as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see most of his elements get up and center. Again, this is a very classic Haley 2 kind of play. She wants to capitalize that first turn so she can lock you down with her feet early and start scoring points early. It's a very scenario-centric kind of play style and a very scenario-centric kind of list that you're looking at right now between all of the different control elements, because you have to remember the Hurricane also has the ability to play a pretty critical piece in pushing models out of the zone, whether you can kill them or not, due to Thunder Charge. which slams models out.
And Patrick's asking if his opponent has any guns. And Corey's saying, not much. Not much,
No.
really.
You got like the Naga Night Lurker, and that's about it. I mean, outside of some minor sprayage from the Blightedness Sorcerers with Frostbite.
So Patrick wraps up his turn, and now we're going to see what Legion does here with their first turn.
All right. So, see really quick, Corey forgot when you advance the Storm Strider, he has to roll for power tokens. So he had to do that really quick. They switched the clock back. Now he's got power tokens on his Storm Strider. Those will allow him to boost attack and damage rolls. Storm Strider got so good after CID. I mean, it's just, you can't aim with it, but you can boost basically guaranteed at least one attack or damage roll with build-up power if you have no tokens. And once you start storing those tokens up, it becomes real nice. Of course, there's a lot of synergy between Superconduction on the Storm Strider and the Fireflies, who have ionization. So you've got +2 to attack rolls from Superconduction within 5 inches of the Storm Strider on electrical-based attacks, +2 to the damage rolls on electrical-based attacks within 5 inches of the Firefly. This is a list that, you know, isn't afraid, despite its shooting potential, to get up in your face. Love those Blight Wasps. They look so good.
They look great, and those metal rods he's converted them with, those look awesome. They give them that little bit of height in their flight.
Height in their flight.
Height in their flight.
I like it. That, excellent. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. All right, so here comes the Blight Wasp racing forward. Happy to not see a Nemo across the table. The Bug Zapper, as they like to call him. So yeah, well, you can already see, like, this is just, it's going to be such a good match. I mean, it's going to be bloody right in the center there. Like, no, those Legion War Beasts, like, oh, you're there? We're there too. We don't even care.
That's pretty much what the pit forces. The scenario will drag you to the middle.
Let's do this. I mean, you have to be aggressive against Haley too, right? You can't allow her to dictate the battle because her feet will put you a turn behind. It's kind of like a time lock. Now the trick is, of course, to be aggressive without losing everything, you know, on your side and being able to counterattack. So the Sorceress and Hellions is intended to be fully in the cover. That was checked by our table judge, Pagani.
And if it's not apparent to those watching on the live stream out there, I believe that thing is a rubble marker.
Yes.
Although it doesn't have the rubble, you know, terrain
Correct.
pieces on it right now.
Yeah, so that does provide cover, and it also counts as rough terrain. And that is going to be relevant because of the Hurricane's ability to shut down flight. So those Legion Beasts are definitely within 12 inches of it and going to lose flight. So they're just going to have to hoof it or tail it or whatever they can do without their wings. Crawl like a bat, I guess.
Crawl like a bat.
All right. So you can see players kind of thinking this one out. Some considerations here. Quick measurements. Looks like the Carnivian or Proteus. Not sure which one. That's Proteus. It's Proteus advancing up behind the wall. Corey telling Patrick that he's going to make him work for Proteus a little bit.
Yeah, and he was careful to measure the distance from that Reliant over there.
Yeah, absolutely. Proteus and the Carnivian kind of representing the biggest heavy hitters in this Legion list on their own, outside of Absalonia's feet. Metamorphose, her feet will grant battle group models currently in your control range +2 strength, flight, and their melee weapons become range 2, regardless of the normal range. So it's a strong feat. Definitely keyed to the alpha or the counter stroke.
Flying Proteus, that would be terrifying in real life.
Just flying squid monster. That's all it is. All right, see some quick measurements going on here. So he plans out the rest of his turn.
And we've got the Carnivian advancing up now. Still being really careful with his measurements.
So we've got a slipstream going. So you see an advance from the Seraph forward to get the Carnivian in slipstream range, and then using the rest of his advance, he advances the Seraph backwards to get him out of danger. And then a proxy base goes down for the Carnivian because he doesn't quite fit Buddy up to Proteus like he is intended to be. So that purple proxy actually represents where the Carnivian is completely.
It's good form to keep the Carnivian on top of the proxy base as much as possible so you don't forget what's actually there.
Yeah, precisely. This looks like one of the Nerfs is going to be screaming forward too. Right behind that wall, maybe. Oh. Proxy base is down, but now the Blight Wasps are going to move. They're also going to go racing forward here. Corey really kind of forcing the issue on Haley's feet this turn, it looks like, but has enough in the zone to at least give Patrick a bit of a work, a bit of effort ahead. Naga Night Lurker runs. Corey letting Patrick know that he's immune to fire because he flies. You see that burning earth terrain feature right there.
Seems like an unfair advantage.
Pagani agreeing that there's so much value in that. So yeah,
and
just
the Sorcerer and Hellion moving up now, getting close to the zone but not quite in it.
Just jamming, pretty much jamming everything in the center to effectively sit out next turn. He's got the Nerf as well, flying forward. Apparently Corey nominating certain things to die in style here. Shepherd comes up, conditions for 1 off the Carnivian. Forsaken pulls some Fury. And so proxy base goes away because it didn't wind up being a model. All right. Corey just now kind of going into the tank here as he considers the next round.
What does he have left to activate this turn?
He's got Epsilonia left. He needs to figure out where he's going to place her, and I believe that he's got one. I don't.
Is that a Forsaken he hasn't activated?
One of the Forsakens has not activated yet, so only got a couple things left. Oh. Corey saying that stupid sounds good. Placing on a proxy base. I think Epsilonia might be running like right in there.
That's interesting.
Yep, I would call that interesting. I mean, again, you have to, when you're facing down Haley 2 like this in this kind of scenario. You do have to be aggressive, but you also have to be smart. You know that you're going to lose half your turn. Quick check on the Hurricane's gun range, which is, of course, 12 on the storm emitters. The POW 16s, again, they do slam if you're not immune to electricity, which, of course, none of the Legion models are. You're talking D3-inch slams. Really good for pushing things out of zones that are just barely in them. And that's not even counting the cannons, which are range 14, AoE 4, POW 13s. Get some work done against those Blight Wasps, even with their low 7 blast damage, because those Blight Wasps are only arm 11. See Corey going into the tank here. Just thinking, I mean,
if you're thinking about putting Absalonia out there that far in this turn, that's definitely something to take your time on.
There's a lot of range potential. Now, the Blightedness sorceresses can kind of help without the Wound Ravager. You can basically shut down shooting within 8 inches of them, but I think both of them ran just to be relevant for the game, so they're not shutting anything down this turn. But against an army that has a Storm Strider and a Signar and Colossal and a bunch of Fireflies, like, taking away their ranged guns can be huge.
See the winged vanguard of the Legion army right there, looking all good.
Yeah. Ready to die. Like, come on, boys, we're expendable.
That's what these Wasps are here for.
I mean, they are this time. The Blight Wasp, pretty potent under Absalonia 2's feet, but otherwise not really going to do a whole lot of work here with their POW 8 crit poison action. Hunting Pack, can be useful, especially against larger base targets, but they're not bringing down a Hurricane. More consideration here. The clock is just winding down. It tells you how crucial this first turn is. And yet, Corey's already activated most of his army here, so it's all about trying to make sure Absalonia doesn't get assassinated off the top of the bat.
You can see we've hit some rough seas here. It's getting a little choppy on the boat.
These guys are two of the final 4, so our next round will be the championship game, the 4-round event. All right, here we go. So Absalonia decides to stay back, and Corey sits down. So she is going to have to move next turn, otherwise she's going to start activating the kill box, but for the moment, she'd rather not get murdered by a Hurricane. So we're going to see some power up. So, at this point, right, Haley's almost guaranteed defeat. She's going to catch probably everything, depending on how far forward she gets. She's got to be a little careful not to overextend, but she's kind of got immunity here. You freeze these things down, you're going to kill yourself some Blight Wasps. You need to get rid of these models here, and this one over here, and then you can start scoring points, or at least force the issue for Corey to expend more resources into you, which he can't actually do effectively because most of the models that can respawn are going to have to forfeit either their combat action or their movement. So don't be surprised if he pushes forward here. The Storm Strider is probably going to come up, staying safe. You're going to see the Hurricane take a central position, probably dominating that zone, just threatening things to come up. But has to be careful that he doesn't overextend. But he knows he has basically an extra turn here. So
yeah, this could be a really rough turn for Corey. Do you think that Patrick's going to clear the zone this turn and score a point?
Well, I think, honestly, I think that Corey probably will at least soft contest under Haley's feet just to stop him from scoring early. Depends on what he's left with, right? Like throwing a Blight Wasp in there, knowing that it's going to get murdered just to stop the one score. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be difficult, but as the second player, he does kind of dictate at least the fact that Patrick can't score at the start of scoring, right?
Right.
Because scoring starts at the end of his second turn. That soft contest, which usually, you heard Pagani talking about not being exactly useful all the time, is a little useful here because it lets you not start with a deficit. And you'll have Patrick instead start scoring at the start of his turn.
Yeah. So even if Patrick totally cleared the zone, Corey would have an opportunity to move models in because scoring doesn't start until the bottom of round 2.
Correct. Some strange ways advancing. He's going to drop a focus with Power Burst here on the Hurricane. So this is Haley's Firefly here. He's going to advance to engage. So he's going to hit the Spell Martyr, and Future Sight from Haley's Field Marshal will allow him to boost after the roll. So we see a hit and a kill. So there goes a Spell Martyr. Going to attack a Blight Wasp, Def 13. Needs a 7 to hit. He's going to buy an attack. He's going to miss. He's going to boost it and still miss. Buy an attack. Will hit. 13. Does destroy that Blight Wasp. So 1 Wasp down. Firefly's now clear. Remember, anything that is within 5 inches of it is going to take +2 to its damage rolls from electrical attacks. So ionization is going to come into play. Patrick considering if he can fit a Colossal Base. Through that gap, if he can clear out those Blight Wasps.
For a second there, I thought that one Blight Wasp was going to hold on.
I mean, he dodged the first one. Not the second.
Not the second
Not
one.
the second. Nope. Remember, there's a lot of turbulence right now from that Hurricane, so. All right, so we've got Junior's Firefly advancing. Places the proxy base. He's going to go ahead and attack, so he's swinging with the lightning stick, the Electroglaive. Hits and does kill. He's at dice +2, so Snake Eyes will fail to kill the Wasp. Hits and destroys the second Wasp. There's only 1 Wasp less in that pack.
Those Electro Leaps. Ouch.
No Electro Leaps on the Glaive. Only on the shot, and that's Lightning Generator. So he just swung twice.
Oh, gotcha.
Thus far, killing Blight Wasp isn't that difficult, but, it's better to start off on a good foot than starting off by whiffing a bunch of rolls. So Patrick's confidence is building. The momentum is started here. So a little bit of consideration about what to activate next here. He's got some models that he probably needs to move out of the way, depending on where he wants that Hurricane to end up. But it looked like he was thinking about having it go towards the rubble. So we're going to see a quick proxy base move. He wants to try to clear out more of those Blight Wasps. Trying to make sure that Proteus is not going to be able to hit back with his Chain Strike 4-inch range on his turn. So see a charge. Charging that Blight Wasp that's in the zone. Alliant gets in there. He's going to need a 6 to hit the Blight Wasp. Misses. Ugh. Blind attack. Hits on the second one. Kills easily. Swings and hits. Kills. So despite the miss on the charge attack, still is able to clear out both the targets that he wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Those poor, poor Blight Wasps.
He's only got 3 left. 1 in one unit and 2 in the other.
Yeah, and losing members from that unit, not only does it drop down their fury, it also takes down their offensive potential from Hunting Pack. So those guys are basically just annoyances now.
We see a distance measure. It looks like he's measuring from the Storm Strider, or was he measuring from the Hurricane? Kind of in between the two.
Either one, you know, both of them are going to get some work done this turn, I think.
Oh, definitely.
So we're going to see the Storm Strider. It's going to advance a little bit. To use that sweet, sweet dual attack to stomp itself some bugs and then still be able to shoot. And Lightning Generator now triggers on both of those attacks. So the one stomp has a good potential to be able to take out both bugs thanks to the Lightning Leap. See some measurements here. Checking to see if he can shoot, what he needs to be able to shoot. Check the Seraph. Looks like that's where he wants those ranged shots to go. So we see the Storm Strider charging. He gets 1 more power token. He's looking at these 2 power tokens now. All right. So see if he can stomp a Wasp.
Shooting at the Naga.
Shooting a Naga. And he boosts, so he does hit. Straight dice. Chooses not to boost it. So 7 points to the 1. And Shepard's going to take about 10 and just be obliterated. And power 10 on the Carnivian is going to be a whole lot of nothing. It's going to tickle. You never want to see a Carnivian giggle. It's horrifying.
Now the second shot's going to go on the Seraph.
Mm-hmm. And that'll kill the other Shepherd if it hits. That'll miss. So that Shepherd is safe. And then we see the Stomp. It's also going to miss. So not a great turn for the Storm Strider given what it could have done.
No.
Especially missing that shot, that boosted shot on the Seraph hurt. You start removing those support pieces from Legion, especially that Shepherd, and all of a sudden Fury management becomes a lot more difficult. All right, so we're checking to see if he's got room to move the Hurricane to a position if he moves the model out of the range. And then he's checking to see if he can punch. So he's not going to be able to. And so it looks like it's going to be guns a-clock for the Hurricane. Judge Pagani making sure that the charge attack on the Storm Trader happened. Def 17. So remember, you know, one of the things that's like kind of throwing it off here is we talk about the Hurricane's gun potential, but all those things in the rubble have cover.
Right.
And Legion is not known for its low defenses, so punching is definitely a better way. Trip ones. Ugh. So Jake's trying to use her hand cannon on the Wasp, rolls trip ones, and then uses her reposition 3 to advance forward. So
trying to do whatever he can to get that Wasp out of the way so that he can move that Hurricane into that position.
So we've got the other Journeyman aiming and firing. She does not hit. And she's going to reposition 3 as well. Forward up. All right. See some proxy bases getting moved. Looks like Haley's going to go try to score a point here based on the position of that proxy base, which is what Haley wants to do. She wants to get up there, start scoring. So Doing a quick check here on ranges. Trying to see if I can replace that with the proxy base so the measurement can be a little more precise. Patrick wants to see how far he can get with the Haley feet here. And the Squire making that a mighty 18 inches. Looks like he's going to be able to get the Naga from that position.
Corey's just confirming.
So we got that. There's that. So he will be able to get to the Naga. So it's going to catch pretty much everything. And proxy base is getting replaced with real models now that the measurement's been made. Ooh. Oh, game state, aim state. The noise Corey made is exactly the noise anybody makes when that happens. It's just like panic. Ooh. All right. So looking at this now, Haley's feet is effectively going to hit everything up to that Naga. So right over Patrick's head. All this stuff is going to be well within feet in my beautiful circle there.
It's a pretty good circle.
It is. It's a lovely, lovely circle. Haley's going to score a point. She's going to wind up right here. That's going to be 1 point. We'll put a 1 there for that because I love drawing. So she's going to score a point unless Corey decides to race something over there just to contest. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to clear out the zone alone, though, at this point, depending on what the Hurricane can do. But without being able to punch, I think it's unlikely. Yeah. Patrick has not feeded yet. Haley hasn't activated. But that proxy base effectively tells me that that's what he's going to do here.
Absolutely.
It's really deciding what the Hurricane's going to do, I think, at this point. So it's 18 using the cover bonus. Even aiming with the Hurricane and boosted, it's not assured. I mean, you're talking about needing 10s on 3 dice. It's hard average.
And I'm not seeing the Blight Wasp there anymore. Is it still there? Or has it been cleared out?
The Blight Wasp looks like it got cleared out by something. But I'm not sure what did. Oh, I think it was Thorn. Thorn stabbed it.
Oh.
Yeah, Thorn killed it. All right, so here we go. So needs 8s because he was able to clear the zone and be able to punch the Nerf. Does hit, dice +4. Oh, that's a horrible, horrible roll. And still doing 10 points of damage. Like, it's just sad. So dice +4. Remember, he boosts after the fact because of Future Sight. Hits, and that is a dead Nerf. So, like, 3 punches and Nerf is done. Patrick congratulating the Hurricane on his performance there. So here we go. So Haley's going to advance, replacing that proxy base. She is now going to feet. So Haley feet is up. All models up to that Naga are going to lose their movement or their combat action next turn. And she's going to TK the Storm Strider because the battle engines can be placed. So she's going to pull him back a little bit, get him out of danger. So the Blight Wasps are going to have to be forced to decide what they're going to do. Thorn's going to move because of a reaction drive, and that's going to be the end of Patrick's turn. So overall, in really strong position here. Corey has a lot of models that can contest, but no real offensive counterpunch that he can pull at this point.
The turn could have gone worse for Corey, but he still lost a lot. He's still been hit pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you know, you're playing an attrition game with Haley as well as the scenario game. And Corey's already on the back foot here. Like,
yeah.
Just, you know, lost the Blight Wasp, which hurts, but really the importance of the Blight Wasp here is the fact that they are able to contest easily and just be bodies to get in the way. So Corey has one opportunity to respond and stop Patrick from being able to score, since scoring does not start until the end of Corey's turn. So Corey, as second player, has a little bit of an advantage here to dictate when the scoring starts. The problem, of course, is that in order to dictate that, he has to throw more basically models into the grinder.
Right.
And at this point, do you really want to do that, knowing that you're only delaying yourself 1 point?
Now, I think overall, Corey pretty well expected that that's how Patrick's turn was going to go. So it'll be interesting to see how he's planned to counter here.
Corey doing some measurements here, trying to figure out what his best play is, knowing that all of his models up to that Naga only get half their activation effectively. So it looks like Corey is going to plan to contest. And staying within the melee range of the Hurricane. Remember that models within 12 inches of the Hurricane, when they activate, lose flight. So that rough terrain matters now as they kind of bat crawl across. Scuttle. It's probably called a scuttle.
Scuttle. Scuttle works for me.
The Batman Lego movie, his little machine
The
bat
Scuttler.
was the scuttler. And it scuttled. So just imagine that. Little front claw things like scratching along and stuff.
I can picture it.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to, Corey says we're going to see something stupid here. Seraph advances. Checking to see if those Blight Wasps are in. One Blight Wasp is, one is not, it looks like. So Corey looking like he's trying to get the Blight Wasps out of Haley control so they can take their full turn. But it looks like even with Slipstream, that's not going to be possible. And honestly, it's a tricky situation to be in here. You've got Seraph, you've got the Absalonia. Absalonia is not really bringing much to the table at this point. When all of her war beasts are kind of at half effectiveness. So quick check to see if the Firefly would get a free strike on the Sorceress and Hellion. And quick move so that he can contest. Checking to the flag. We'll get it. All right, in place. In 4 in the zone, so basically contesting 2 things at once. Good job, Sorceress and Hellion.
As long as they're alive.
I mean, you've been sacrificed to the greater glory. As you crawl along that rubble. All right. See the feat token being placed down just to indicate that the feat has been used. Looking for the right measuring stick here. Can't quite tell what he's looking for. Well, looks like he's looking at the Seraph here. Sidekick is on the Reliant, so he's def 14. Pretty good, especially if he's planning on trying to shoot him with the Seraph here. The Seraph's going to need 9s. Put a little damage on him. He's going to take some shots with the Seraph. He's trying to put some early damage here with the models that can. He's going to get 2. He's going to need a 9. That'll do. Roll that for damage. He's going to boost the damage. It's a good roll. 7 points to the 6. He's going to roll 7 like a man, Corey says, and he does it with a 10. All right, boost damage one more time. Nice roll again. 7 more points to the 4. That Seraph wanted it. And both the players kind of chuckling about that because that was unexpected. The players talking about how their maths are different based on the results there, and Pagani pointed out that one of their players' math is metric. That would be Patrick.
Measuring distance to that Hurricane.
Yep. $13 is average apparently in metric, according to Pagani and his crazy Pagani math, his Tejas math.
See the look of concentration on Corey's face right now.
Thinking things through here. I mean, he's in definitely a tight spot. We see Absalonia casting a slipstream, maybe? Nope. Proteus is going to move over to get base to base with the flag. Corey might be trying to set up his own domination on his friendly flag here just to be able to answer. All right. I see a Forsaken, maybe? So Corey doing what he can. If he can go up 1 point even on Haley's turn, it puts him in an okay position to not get left behind in the scenario race here.
Yeah, it'll keep the pressure off a little bit.
Haley probably will score 2 next turn for sure by dominating the flag and likely see the Nerf getting pulled back because flight is shut off.
With no flight, they have to scuttle, like you were saying.
They do. They got to crawl through.
Not used to not being able to just ignore things.
Correct. All right. Looks like, I'm not sure which model he's measuring right now. I'm pretty sure Absalom is going to that flag, though. I think that's his plan at this point. Score a point. Take the risk, apparently, and try to not get left behind here, knowing that Patrick's in good position to probably score 2 on his next turn between the zone and the flag. Let's see our elegant player cam there as we go from the gaze down.
Got the distance measured out from that Night Lurker to the Hurricane. What do you think he's thinking there?
I don't really know. I mean, the Night Lurker definitely looks like it's in range, maybe. It's not quite touching. I mean, he's a couple inches out, so if he slipstreams, because that's a 12er, yeah, if he slipstreams, it looks like he could shoot the Hurricane, but why?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you get lucky and shadow bind it and force it to shake if it cares about not being able to move, but honestly it doesn't because it's right where it wants to be. Outside of wanting to be able to punch things. But you can shake shadow blind, so it drops your focus down by 1. Although as we've seen, the Hurricane doesn't really need 3 focus to kill heavies on the Legion side. And you're also relying on a crit, which it's always a little iffy, even with boosted dice. Corey's still considering here. You just see the difference in like the importance of these turns. Patrick knew his plan going in, knew what he needed to do, you know, as a traditional Haley 2 kind of scenario play, and gets to sit back as his opponent tries to survive, basically, to be able to put his own plan into play.
Corey was under the gun right away, but he's showing some pretty good poise here.
Yep. He's being very careful, and this is the time to do it, because a misplay here loses you the game.
And he doesn't seem like he's very flustered. He seems like he's...
I mean, he's definitely crunching all of the numbers that he can right now, right? Like, again, this is a lot of the times this moment happens, mid-game or late game. You'll see players really start to go in the tank and have to be very careful about what they're doing here. Against Haley, too, this moment always happens up front.
Right.
So Carnivian's going to go ahead and spray the Reliant. Hits. It's POW 14. Another really decent roll. So 7 more points. That Reliant takes nothing but 7s.
And the Reliant has lost its gun now.
Yep. The Reliant it's hurting for sure. 21 points of damage out of 3 attacks. That is not usual given the nature of those attacks that were rolled against it. POW 14 on the Carnivian spray. And then the Seraph just being a baller. And doing two 7-pointer on a POW 12. It's crazy.
Seraph is round 2 MVP for Corey for sure.
Seraph may just be flat MVP. All right, so Absalonia has moved to the flag. She's got plenty of transfers. Naga Nightlurker advances back to be a transfer target. So can't see it, but we got Absalonia right here. So Corey will be scoring a point this turn. And really, it's going to come down to the Blight Wasps haven't activated yet. I'm kind of curious what they're going to wind up doing. Okay, so we're just going to advance in and be done. Interesting. So the other Sorceress and Hellion advanced forward.
And
so
Corey has scored a point.
1 point thanks to dominating that friendly fag. So we're going to burn an accumulator circle from the Squire, give Haley an extra focus, so she's going to be at focus 9. Everything else is going to power up. So Reliant still has its Cortex. Jake's upkeep's sidekick allocates 2 to the Reliant. The Reliant's going to go Dragon Spawn smashing, it looks like, with its hammer. Patrick now considering. Haley's feat is now complete. So looks like Patrick is discussing going after Absalonia based on her position there. She's def 15-16. Patrick does have the TK. So looking at can the Hurricane with the slam hit, slam her back, knock her down, and then have all the other shooting in the world put her down.
There's a lot at stake in this game. Whoever wins this one advances to the Iron Gauntlet final.
Correct.
Which we'll be covering right after this game.
Mm-hmm. So Patrick now going into the tank a little bit as he considers his next turn. So it looks like we get an overhead shot here. We can kind of look at what Patrick's considering at this point. So Thorn needs to advance into 8 inches to be able to TK Absalonia. We'll move her 2 inches, probably to somewhere around here. That will give the Reliant an open shot. The Hurricane will need to advance and get within range to take a shot at her, slamming her away. It's only D3 inches, so she'll probably wind up somewhere in this zone here, which is still within the Reliant's charge range. Once she's knocked down, she becomes easy prey for just about everything else. She does have a lot of fury left on her, though. So it does come down to dice rolling a little bit, but between, Storm Strider and all of its shots, the Reliant full focus with a good arm, and the Hurricane guns, it seems like a fairly decent assassination play at this point. Of course, they can always go awry on you, so yeah, as the chat's discussing, I'm not sure what the Wasps wound up doing, if anything, but they are where they are. at this point. One of them was out of feet, so conceivably it could have done something. If nothing else, just jamming the Strider to slow it down. All right, Patrick still thinking about the assassination run. The key consideration here with the assassination run is that, sure, it'll give you the game, but if it goes awry, there's a potential that you pour too many resources into something that doesn't pay off, and you lose your advantage, because right now he is winning the attrition game.
Yeah, and Patrick may be in a position to where he doesn't really have to try to push the issue with the assassination right now. He's sitting in a pretty good spot.
No, it looks like, you've got, there's the championship trophy that's on the line. It's exciting. Right there. It's the gaze of somebody who's looking forward to playing for that glorious, glorious Iron Gauntlet. But if we look here at the map, you've got this Nerif, you've got this Hellion, which looks like it's still in, you've got this Hellion Sorceress, which is still in, and also contesting the flag here. So if you can eliminate those three, Patrick can easily score 2 this turn. The Reliant or the Stormstrider could contest to stop Corey from being able to score, so he'd go up by 2. And then, honestly, there wouldn't be much. You've got the heavy hitters from Legion. You've still got Absolonia's feet. They can do some damage. The question is, can they do enough damage to swing it back? It's tricky. Proteus and Carnivian under the feet probably can take care of the Hurricane for sure. The Reliant is pretty messed up at this point. Arlen could. So there's definitely some considerations here. It's not simple. That's a lot of hitboxes in that circle though. On the Signar side as compared to the Legion side. I think the big thing that jamming the Strider could have done is just avoid it from being able to get closer for the Electro Leaps. But at this point now, Superconduction and Lightning Generator are just going to amplify your dice choices because you're able to get it closer to the targets you want. All right, so we've got an attack on the Sorceress and Hellion. So needs 11 to kill the Hellion. Does do it.
Exactly 11.
Great start.
And that clears the contest on the flag that Haley's sitting on.
Yep. And now the Firefly is going to go ahead and go after.
So Patrick is assured of a point here unless he, of course, moves Haley away.
Correct. Yep. So Haley now dominating her flag. So considering the free strike, it looks like from the Sorceress and Hellion at this point. As the mount is 10. So Firefly is going to stay within 2 of the spear. Hit boosts with Future Sight. And that will be another dead Hellion. So it looks like Patrick has decided to go for the scenario play.
Now only that Nerif is left contesting the center zone there.
Yeah, and you've got to, I mean, at the point that those Fireflies are able to kill both those Hellions, do their jobs very effectively, now you may even be able to play both sides. Like, all you have to do is kill a Nerif. The assassination may still be open. The Reliance certainly could get to the Nerif if you wanted to change tacks. Again, playing the scenario, the thing you have to watch for is that Carnivian and Proteus. Because neither of them care about that wall that's in front of them. They both boast Pathfinder, so they're able to charge, whereas the Signarin side is not able to get across that wall. So you can see Strange Ways activate next. Expecting we'll see a power booster. Or, so gives a focus to the Hurricane with Power Booster. And it looks like both Proteus and the Carnivean are too far back from the wall for the Hurricane to be able to reach them, even if it goes base to base with the wall itself.
Because of the interactions with the Hurricane's abilities, it's kind of interesting that while usually Flight is the superior ability, right now Pathfinder benefits Corey more.
Yeah. Yeah, Turbulence doesn't shut that completely down. You know, it's one of those things with the Hurricane where it's like Turbulence only matters sometimes, but when it matters sometimes, it matters all the time. Especially, you know, when you're looking at lists like this Absalonia 2 list, which uses a lot of flying models, especially a Fianna 2 list that boasts a lot of Angelius and Seraph and Nerifs to maximize the feat. Okay, so we're going to get a TK on the Carnivean to see if so facing directly away and back.
2 inches directly back.
That's going to remove the threat of the Carnivean being able to charge. And we're going to try to TK Proteus as well. Ugh. And because of the placement of them being safe from the Hurricane, they're not gaining the cover bonus, which might have saved them from these TKs. So you see quick base placement here. So now both heavies are now facing away from the way they need to be facing because of TK. Let's see another TK from Haley. So it does hit.
No, Absalonia is pushed back by telekinesis.
Absalonia is going to get bounced off the flag, which is going to stop her from scoring this turn regardless of whether he puts a contesting model in there or not. And then we're going to see Reaction Drive go off. Thorn's going to do his Reaction Drive move. Hop away from danger. Okay. Thus far, a really strong turn. Haley's going to advance now after casting all her spells to get a little bit away from the center scrum. Squire's just going to dawdle up a little bit. Still have a Reliant and a Stormclad to go, as well as Jake's. Stormstrider is going to go next. He's going to advance. He gets 1 power token. He's not shuffling his feet very well here. So the Stormstrider is going to take a shot at that Nerif. You can't clear it out here. He's going to advance within 10, staying in the zone. So he's going to try to take a shot at Proteus in the back as well. All right. So we're going to shoot the Nerif. Needs a 6. Sounds like he's not going to boost it. Checking to see if the Firefly is within 5. Is not. So going to boost damage, power 15 -1.
13 to the 5.
Oof. Huge. Corey points out that 13 has been average this game. And that'll
Kill the Forsaken
behind on another great roll. He's going to miss on the second shot. There's 14 boxes left in the Nerif.
At arm 16 and 27 boxes to start with, and Nerif is not a very durable heavy. Just lining up that Hurricane. Probably going to try to finish off the Nerif here. So left-hand cannon's going to shoot at the Nerif. hits him straight dice damage.
Not amazing. Boost after the fact. Does 8 thanks to Future Sight. Nerf has
6 boxes remaining.
Yep. So he's going to miss on the cannon. Goes 5, 6 inches, which hits a whole lot of nothing. So next storm emitter does hit POW 16. That'll destroy the Nerf, and that will leave the zone firmly in Signar's zone. See the next cannon, it looks like. This is going to miss. There's a 14-inch stick. It's going to deviate right from in front of that Blight Wasp. It's going to go backwards 2 inches, which is going to clip nothing, even with the AoE 4. Patrick claiming Corey's 14-inch stick. Reliance is just going to get out of dodge and back up.
So this has been a really strong turn for Patrick.
Right. So the Reliant, despite having 3 focus on it, decides not to press its advantage and just backs up.
Yeah, just back up, reset, play it safe.
That's going to be 2 points for Patrick as he clears the zone. You know, now Patrick is severely up both on the attrition game for sure, but he's also up by 1 on points, and TKing, the successful TK on Absalonia, pushing her off the flag so he didn't have to force the issue on contesting. It was a big win because he was able to pull back, and now with his heavy beast facing the wrong way, Corey's in a pretty rough spot. You know, the position on that was really good. Patrick took advantage of the fact that Corey couldn't take advantage of the cover to make his War Beast slightly harder for Haley to hit. Made him pay for it. There's some great TK positioning that kind of leaves Corey with not a lot of options on this turn again. So it's going to be 2 turns of kind of reacting to Patrick's aggressive play and his scenario dominance.
Now with his heavies facing the wrong way, he really doesn't have a good opportunity to use his feet here yet again. He may find himself running out of having a chance at all this game to like really take advantage of it. See him measuring his heavies to the Storm Strider.
Yeah, I mean, you know, again, he doesn't. When you're facing a Hurricane, a Reliant with this hammer that's still good, a couple of Fireflies, like 3 battle groups effectively that are fully operational, and you've got, you know, Proteus, a Carnivian. Those are great models. They're super strong. They're powerful. They're dangerous. But when that's really all you got, you know, a couple Blight Wasps, like even that stuff doesn't meaningfully contest. So the Wasps are going to activate, advance up.
Haley looks pretty well protected back there, sitting behind the Hurricane from most of Corey's army.
I'm not entirely sure what Corey's game plan is going to be here. You know, you got proxy bases out. He's looking to throw as much into the zone that's meaningful as possible, but there's just not a lot there. The Seraph, excuse me. You've got Slipstream. Slipstream definitely gives you a little bit of counterplay still because of the Seraph. And it does allow you to place, or sorry, excuse me, the apparition from the Seraph can place. And you do get a place with Slipstream, so Slipstream might be the answer here, although Patrick did, you know, effectively move back anything that was there. So you can get turned around with Slipstream. But does that 2 inches alone without Absalona being able to pull off Alpha Hunter, I believe it's called, which if she destroys a model, allows her battle group to gain +2 speed and mat for 1 turn. You know, does that 2-inch place get them around back to where they were really matter? And that looks to be what we're measuring right now. Her feet also would give them flight, which will allow nothing really significant at this point.
Not when they've already got Pathfinder.
No. I mean, there are no friendly models in their way, so it's probably not going to be too relevant. We'll give the Carnivian range 2 on all of its melee weapons, which would be real nice. If you're talking 5, 9, 13 inches between Slipstream and if you can get Alpha Hunter off, but there's no real model for her to do that with. Overall, you're just looking at 11, it looks like. So those measurements happening right now as Corey's trying to figure out what he can get to. And you can get to Thorn, it looks like. Only sort of relevant.
Right now, Thorne's job, I think, for Patrick is to die for the cause. So I think he'll take whatever trade that Corey offers.
That's losing Thorn in the Arc Node hurts, but at this point in the game, yeah, that is a peace trade I think anyone would take, especially when it means you're getting a Proteus. Some more sticks coming out in measurements. You can see those nice sticks that Corey's using that are Legion themed. Those are made by Broken Egg Games, our partners. You can check them out at brokenegggames.com. They make sweet stuff for all the factions. Also make some great gaming trays. I use them all the time. So Seraph is going to kick things off. It's going to Slipstream. All right, so 3 shots from the Seraph after the Slipstream. Does hit. So 6 off the damage roll. Trying to knock down Thorn a bit. Does 5 points to the 4. Not a bad start. Hits. Corey's math off $1 million on the Storm Strider. Shooting the Strider again. Hits. It's no damage, but Corey informs Patrick and his Storm Strider that they know they got hit. All right. Absalonia has moved, slipstreamed back into the flag. Absalonia, Corey pointed out that despite Absalonia losing flight the second that he pops his feet, he gains it back for Absalonia. All right, Absalonia going to go in and see if she can murder Thorn. Pull off Pack Hunters, or Alpha Hunter, excuse me. So in she goes.
So Proteus is the purple marker there.
Mm-hmm.
And Proteus
There
moves
goes
to
the
take
Slipstream. And Absalonia. Make sure she's in 2. She is. All right, Absalonia. Show us what you got. So set defense.
Makes him def 13.
That hits no problem. Remember, she does have +2 strength, as well as all of her melee weapons having 2-inch range. So she's looking at 2 16s and 1 14. So 16 off 2 does 4 damage. Not an ideal start. Hits. So 7 points to 5. They're getting close. Cortex is now gone. Does hit. So 3 more points to 5. Buys an attack. Hits with authority. Ooh, 3 more points to 5. Shield's gone. It's going to be a big swing.
That'll help.
Hits. Can he kill? 4 boxes left. Does do it. So takes everything she's got, but Absalonia is able to take down Thorn. That activates Alpha Hunter. So +2 speed and mat for all of Corey's battle group models. They also get to charge, power attack, or slam without being, or run without being forced. Excuse me, not slam. She gets to repo 5. She gets behind the wall. Proteus now looking to go get himself a Hurricane. Oop. So definitely within range for Proteus. So Proteus is just going to go in and try to wreck everything. Oh, the Naga Night Lurker gets knocked over in game state.
Game state.
And it looks like Proteus is trying to kill the Reliant. So Proteus hits. So 6 points to the 4. On the Reliant, punches the Strider, hits the Strider. Proteus can't be pushed, so the Strider's repulsion does not activate. So 7 points. Second fist on the Strider hits. So 6 points. So 13 total on the Strider. Got a lot left. All right, punching the Strider again. So buys one on the Strider from Proteus, does hit. 7 points.
That should
Solid.
give him 8 points left, I believe.
Misses on the Reliant. Buys another on the Reliant. Does hit. Off 2. 6 to the 6. The Reliant is dead. Buy on the Strider. Hits. Strider is exactly dead. Holy
that 8
cow.
points was exactly what he needed to
Proteus
finish
does
it
what
off.
Proteus do. Well, that helps a little bit. Still has no answer for the Haley domination. But Corey will score a point, it looks like, for sure. Or no, he will not, because Absaloni went after Thorn. Right. She just started slipstreamed into the flag. So we'll see quick measurement here. Corey a little worried that he might have messed up his measurements. Shepard heals the Naga for 2. Corey letting Patrick know that if he wants to win, he's going to have to dominate the zone. Looks like the Naga's going to try to get in there too. And if he puts... All right, so the Naga can run 16 again because of Alpha Hunter. And the Naga does fly at the moment. It's a flying Wraith Snake.
Flying Wraith Snake plus 2 speed.
So Naga's just going to run like a madman. Running is free, so there is no fury on the Naga. And that's again due to Alpha Hunter getting procced this turn by the death of Thorn from Absalonia. And the Carnivian looks like he's just going to get in there too. And he's just going to go straight into the grill of the Hurricane. And he gets to fly because he is outside of 12, so turbulence does not affect him. And he's going to engage basically everyone. And his weapons are going to be range 2 for a round because Metamorphose is for a round, so we're going to see the Blight Wasp become relevant. Charge themselves a Hurricane.
Everybody into the pit.
Bring it on, Hurricane. We're bees. We're angry. Buzz, 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 buzz. All right. So that'll hit. No problem. It's a Mighty Pow 11. And he's armed 22 with Arcane Shield. So Stinger just snaps off. Hits with Authority and nothing. And buys 1 with a Fury. Hits. Crit poison. Doesn't matter. Can't poison a Jack. Sad. Does do some damage, though. Crit counted for something.
Something.
Forsaken's going to move up. Steal some Fury. Might be relevant. It's going to be in. Patrick will score 1 point, go up to 3. If
Pagani laying down the law on proxy basis.
So burns another accumulator circle from the Squire to give Haley 9 focus for the turn. Patrick congratulating Corey on that last turn and turning this into something where he's not sure if he can swing it this turn.
It was a really great turn from Corey.
It was. He answered with the slipstreams and with Proteus. He had some really good dice rolls when he needed them. Remember, Corey did not score last turn because Absalonia did not stay base to base with the flag. You have to dominate your flag, so he went for the Alpha Hunter and allowed himself to go down by 1. All right. So Patrick planning out his turn here. counting it out. He's going to need some TKs. Checking Absolonia's threat range, it looks like. Speed 7. Absolonia does have Hex Bolt. Gives her a little bit of range danger. They're only range 6. They are POW 13s, though, which pretty good for the cost 2 spell. And when you're Haley, POW 13s are pretty scary.
That is true.
She's not one who likes to get hit in the face with anything at arm 14. So Patrick kind of just talking out the turn. Both players agreeing that the Carnivian is dead, which, you know, can't really argue with that when you're engaging 3 Warjacks, one of which is a Colossal. So Strange Ways looking to spray, trying to get rid of the Blight Wasps.
Strange sprays.
Range 8. First one hits. And that'll do. Needing 6s to kill. So Strange Ways gets both the Wasps and repositions 3 from the benefit from Heavy Metal. So the Wasps are now no longer in the way of the Hurricane. I mean, the big thing is going to be for that Hurricane to get right in here. And then all of a sudden it can go ham on Proteus and a very wounded Carnivian and the Naga. If you can eliminate those 3, you get to dominate.
Punch and party.
Yes. It's a big old mud hole stomp. So Fireflies will see if they can get some work done on the Carnivian first. So misses. Oof, not a good start. Does hit. Boost damage. Pretty good roll. 8. It's a good start. Hits on the next shot. Oh, he's rolling boxcars. All right, so everything's coming up Patrick at the moment. This next Firefly gets in there. Stab himself a Carnivian.
It's a great camera angle we've got here so you can see Corey marking the damage on the War Room and see clearly how much damage is left.
So is he going after the Naga or is he going to go after the Carnivian? I mean, after the boxcar roll.
On the Carnivian.
The Carnivian does hit. Ooh, that makes up for the boxcars. Buys an attack. And is going to miss as well. So the boxcars kind of get meted out by that pendulum swing back where you do no damage and you miss. Despite Future Sight allowing the Firefly to be able to boost after the fact. Probably going to see some hand cannon shots into Proteus. Jake's. You're going to aim and shoot with her hand cannon. She's going to boost her to hit roll. She hits. And boosting damage. Off 8. So 3 damage to the 4. It's a start. She's going to reposition 3. Haley now is going to go. So use her. She's got that sweet Hurricane Arc node. No longer still engaged though. So Patrick kind of considering if TK is worth it at this point. Corey's saying if Patrick's plan ends up with Haley sitting on 0, he's all for the plan.
And he does choose a Camp 4 instead of spending it all.
What do you use the 2 to cast?
I didn't catch it.
So checking to get within 2. Looks like he is not trying to get within 2 of the Naga. So first initial on the Carnivian hits. Dice plus 2. Oh. Second has to be on Proteus due to the Fields of Fire. Hits. He's going to swing back around. Proteus is arm 22. That's a really good roll. But what he needed on the Carnivian, it's Temporal Acceleration is what he cast. So hits, does 8 points to the Carnivian. Got 3 left on the Carnivian. Buys an attack. Does hit. Dice plus 2 will kill, regardless of the roll. Buys an attack on Proteus. Does hit. Dice minus 2. Jeez. Every time on Proteus.
Unbelievable.
So 8 more points. It's been a game of regularity. It's like whatever gets rolled on you the first time is what you get rolled on every other time.
Proteus has 11 boxes remaining.
Yeah, Proteus is hurting from that. That should not have been quite as successful as it was, but whew. Hurts. However, Patrick's kind of burned through everything at this point. He's got a Squire to go. He's got his Journeyman to go. Squire just dawdles behind the wall, being cool. Little robot assistant. And the Journeyman Warlock, I believe, is the last thing to activate at this point. Yep, it's a junior warlock or caster, excuse me. It's going to do something. It's going to move back. And that is it.
Patrick's done.
All
He's
right,
probably
so Patrick will score 1 from the flag and go to 4. He is 1 away from winning. So Corey has to respond to the flag.
Patrick might be just a little bit nervous that Proteus is still alive, and the Seraph is there to slipstream him as well.
Yep. All right. Well, so everything's coming up 4 for Patrick's according to Corey, because he's got 4 focus. He's got 4 control points. All he sees is 4s. All right. The feed is gone now, so let's see here. So there's going to be a lot of precise measurements at this point because you have to be able to get Haley.
It's all or nothing on this turn.
Effectively, yeah. Corey doesn't have a. I mean, he could delay it to Patrick's turn if he really wanted to, but that's not going to. So quick check on the arc, trying to see where the Hurricane is faced. As good as Proteus is, without the feet and by himself, he's not going to be able to deal with a fully health Hurricane. It's all about getting around that model.
Absolutely. He's a big guy to get around, though.
He is. He is. All right, Corey's in the tank. But this is kind of the all or nothing moment here. Outside of feet, If the Naga helps, Absolutely might be able to kill the Firefly. Maybe. Some good rolling to trigger Alpha Hunter, which the +2 speed's probably pretty critical to do what it looks like Corey's thinking of. He also needs to likely use the Seraph to proc Slipstream to get Proteus out of Free Strike. Probably going to see Corey use the rest of his clock here on this turn because this is literally it. So there's the 4-inch. There's the 4-inch one, and there's the 8-inch. So.
So the Squire is preventing
the
Proteus from getting to Haley. That Squire has to go if he has any shot at doing this.
So at this point, he needs to use Slipstream. He needs to get Alpha Hunter off, and he needs to remove the Squire.
It's a lot to ask.
It is. It's a tall order at this point. Not impossible, but highly improbable. And then you're talking about only being able to attack with the tentacles because the Journeyman's going to prevent poles to allow the claws to attack. Unless you remove the Journeyman, which is then starting to cost you a lot of focus, or fury. See some more measurements here. Consideration. Patrick saying that the Squire is a good robot. How it protects his master.
Well, let's say the Proteus does get there. It probably would be worth his while to kill the Journeyman, though, so that he can get those extra attacks. If he can kill him with one hit.
Mm-hmm. Well, the problem is that he's going to lose his initial regardless because the only way he can attack the Journeyman is with the tentacles. And once he does that,
then he can't.
He's going to have to do tentacles again, and that will forfeit his initials. So it's all tentacles all the time.
All tentacles all the time.
But Haley's, you know, again, Haley, if you can hit her, she's pretty squishy. You're looking at arm 14, 15 boxes. That's doable with a POW 14, provided you can hit. But the Hurricane, that's the difference maker. It turbulence shutting down flight. Also remember on Absaloni at this point is making that Alpha Hunter thing even more impossible due to the rubble terrain feature.
Early in the game, the rubble terrain was a real advantage for Corey, but now it's hampering him pretty badly. That and, of course, the Hurricane.
Yeah. Yeah, the Hurricane is such a strong control piece in this matchup, between its significant offensive presence, its durability, and turbulence, especially in this specific list. I think we're going to... So Seraph is going to go. He's going to slip stream. So the first super long shot for Corey. He's going to go ahead and try to shoot that Squire to death. Maybe. All right. Here we go. Looks like that's where the proxy base is going to go. So we're doing some measurements here to see who's going to reach to what for charging. It's going to move within 10 with the Seraph. It's going to slipstream, I would assume. Gets one shot. Boost to hit on the Squire. Need a 13 to hit. Misses by 3. Squire has cover right now.
Corey kind of needed that. What do you think he's going to do now?
I mean, looks like he's just going to take his point and shake
Concedes
hands.
the
So
game. He played an excellent game, though.
Yeah, that was
game.
Absolutely a tough matchup to be in at that point in the game with the Squire where it was. It stole his kind of long shot. The Seraph missing that last shot, only getting one. Totally changed it. So, yeah, Corey definitely, put in a very, very difficult spot from the start. Fought his way out and made it into a situation where he had a very strong chance. Responding well, getting lucky on some dice rolls. Patrick, though, played a marvelous game. Played Haley precisely like you play Haley. Forced the scenario issue, played attrition well. Had a list that kind of had answers for what Corey's army wanted to do in terms of shutting down flight. And just being more durable and able to outlast throughout the game and allow Haley to score the points she wants to score.
And congratulations to Patrick, who
absolutely
advances to the finals now.
Yeah, so Patrick is advancing to the finals. We will be back with the final games, the World Championship for 2016, Iron Gauntlet, very shortly. Stay tuned to the chat, and we will be back momentarily.
We'll be right back.